Good evening, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you all are having a great evening and hope you all had a great day as we're midway through the point of the week here. It's been a very active week, but today is much more quiet across most of the country, most of the eastern U.S., and it looks to remain like that as we get into the weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what looks to be a either averaged or cooler than average first part of May. So depending on where you live in the eastern U.S., whether you're kind of in the Mid-South, Tennessee, Kentucky area, North Carolina, Virginia, just certain areas, it might be a little too nippy for pool weather, and that's almost unheard of in certain parts of the South. Usually when you get into the May time period, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be warm enough to get into the pool and the ocean for the most part, depending on where you are and things like that. But I tell you what, the first part of May, except for a few days here and there between troughs, looks to be cooler than average. We're going to talk about how cold. Is there any severe weather threats? I'm not seeing anything, but guys, let me mention, definitely hit the subscribe button. It's a great way to support me. I really think we're probably about to enter a really slow period, and we're kind of starting to leave severe weather season. Not saying we're going to not get any severe weather threats, especially here in the Midwest, but I know I don't talk about the Midwest and things like that near as much. I know my audience definitely is not really, most of you guys are not from that area. I mainly talk about the eastern U.S., especially the southeast. I might branch out more here in the future, but for now, I feel comfortable with what I'm doing right now. But I really think we're going to kind of begin to enter a slow period. We did the same thing last year. I've been doing YouTube for almost a year and a half now. And unfortunately for a lot of people, but fortunately for me, as far as me talking weather, last year was an early start to hurricane center season. So there was a lot to talk about. Remember, in 10 days is the technical kind of beginning of hurricane season. They start issuing advisories, the Hurricane Center does. So we're about to enter technical hurricane season. So, be aware of that. Definitely follow along with that because it's going to get active. It's supposed to be another active hurricane season. Like the video, subscribe. It's definitely a great way to support me, and I appreciate it. Also, there's a method down there, and I'm not going to mention this in all my videos, but there is a way to definitely financially help me out and make my system and my setup much better. There's a way to give. I'm not going to kind of drill that to the ground in every video. Trust me, I'll mention it here or there every few weeks, but there is a way to help me out. Any money will go to making my setup better. I already got a new microphone. It didn't cost much, but I hope to make my internet faster and a lot of things faster, just for live streams and things like that. But hurricane season's coming up, guys. I plan on to chase as many hurricanes as possible. We're starting to enter, depending on where you live, more of the pop-up storm kind of season. We're starting to gradually leave severe weather season. It's still definitely still get severe weather throughout the spring and summer, but it's starting to become a little bit of a different setup now. And honestly, I don't see any severe weather anytime in the future, to tell you the truth, here in the eastern U.S., in the southeast especially. But let's go on and get going here. And, as always, I appreciate y'all's support. Growth is probably going to be slow over the next few months unless we have a major event here or early hurricane. So the mission is to try to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That is the goal. It's a high goal, but I think we can do it. So thank y'all for everybody who's been with me from the beginning. And thank y'all for the big time support. So let's talk about what's going on right now. So what you got going on is the Climate Center, 6 to 10 day range. That's May 11th to 15th. It's calling for below average temperatures for a good chunk of the eastern U.S. The reason the tip of Florida is still warm is because troughs this time of the year, cold fronts, do not make it that far south. Same thing with the tip of Texas there. They just don't get that far south. They normally stall out, fizzle out, whatever you may have. And but I tell you what, there's going to be two big-time cold fronts. One's working its way through the south right now, in the eastern U.S. right now. In fact, it's done cleared most areas. It's working its way through Georgia, the Carolinas. That's going to deliver. It's definitely not going to really be chilly. Depending on where you are, it will be, but it's going to feel more like spring instead of summer like it has been the last few days. But you look at the it's a 14-day outlook, which is May 13th to May 19th. I mean, this is all the way past mid-month. It's signaling on another big-time cold front that could affect the eastern U.S. As we get later, probably next week. So I think we're going to get a cold front right now, obviously. We know that's going to happen. It's going to warm up again. How hot? Maybe in the upper 80s, around 90, depending on where you are. 80s, we can pretty much say. And then we're going to get another, which might be even a more chillier cold front next week. So we're getting a lot of troughing. If you guys remember, last year around this time, we had a big time cold front. In fact, a year ago from the day, I know you'll always see this first video right here. I did this video right here 1 year ago from the day. It'll update and probably say 12 months tomorrow. 1 year ago today, I did this. It was my first real chase. It was a very successful chase. And then we had a big time cold blast behind it. It actually got down to the low 40s here in central South Carolina for May, which I think broke a record. I can't remember. But let's just check out the operational GFS run. This is from the latest one. So we're going to get through here tomorrow across the southeast, except in Florida. The front stalls right here. Stormy weather probably in the central to northern part of the state. It stalls right here. You can tell obviously where it stalls because central to southern Florida is baking. Some areas might reach the mid-90s. But everybody else in the southeast and even in the northeast and mid-Atlantic could just flat out be chilly. It is going to be spring-like temperatures. So you're getting into Friday, Mother's Day weekend, and it's going to be a very spring-like weekend. Spring-like temperatures as in highs maybe in the 60s and 70s and lows maybe in the 40s and 50s. You get into Saturday, and it could just be flat-out chilly for certain areas, especially the Ohio Valley where some rain can set up. It's going to be rain-cooled air. But you notice in Texas and Oklahoma where there could be some severe weather, and I will talk about that a little bit maybe tomorrow. There could be a severe weather outbreak here in the Midwest or South Central U.S. We'll talk more about that here tomorrow. But check out how chilly it is for the weekend for a large chunk of the country. Here in the deep South in the Carolinas, and it's still in Virginia. It's still manageable during the day. It's not cold or anything like that. You get into Sunday, Mother's Day. It's a nice day. It warms up. It's going to be beautiful weather. It's going to be more summer-like weather. But you look up here, you got a big area of rain and wind setting up here in the Ohio Valley in areas of the Midwest. And this is rain-cooled air right here. It is going to be a raw day if you live in portions of the Ohio Valley. I mean, rain in the 40s. It is going to feel like winter or fall up there. But down here where the boundary's setting up, you have another big-time cold front. And here you go. It'll be a warm start the next week, but this is the next cold front moving through, and it could get downright chilly next week. These are highs. 50s trying to show up for next Thursday. I mean, it's pretty far out, and we'll talk more about this. But what we do know is it's going to be not chilly, but it's going to be more spring-like the next few days. Temperatures compared to average, what does this look like? Well, the blues are obviously the cooler than average temperatures. The reds are definitely the warmer than average temperatures. So check out how much this dominates the pattern across the eastern U.S. You don't see many reds, do you? No. I mean, and then you're starting to get into mid-month, May 13th range, and look how much the cooler than average anomalies dominate the pattern. I don't see really any big time warm up through mid-month. I tell you that right now. Except, maybe Sunday into Monday, it might be pretty toasty across the southeast between troughs, between cold fronts. You can really tell where the troughing is going on by looking at the anomalies. You got negative heights, which is symbolizing troughing, cold fronts, and they sets up over the weekend. And then it kind of gets zonal, which means the jet stream's straight pretty much. That's where you can get your brief warm up this weekend. And the ridge tries to flex a little bit, and we'll see how that happens. But then you get another trough that sets up here. It's symboling some kind of troughing going on right here. So, warm weather fans, pool weather fans, unless you live in, Florida, it's definitely going to be a little too cold to swim depending on where you are. So, trust me, enjoy it while you can, because what I like to call the armpit of hell is going to take over the deep south and the southeast before you know it. And you're eventually going to get the consistent days in the 90s with high humidity and the consistent low temperatures in the 70s with high humidity. So take advantage of it. Enjoy it. It's going to be big time energy saving weather. And it's always nice to delay summer as long as possible, especially when it's accompanied by spring-like temperatures. So you don't have to worry about any frost or freeze warnings except in the very high elevations. So don't worry about that as far as plants. But that's all I got, guys. There's not a lot of exciting weather to talk about, but there's your update. So y'all have a great evening. And also, I forgot to mention, if there's anything that I can pray about, anything that anybody else can pray about, drop it in the comments. It gives other people an opportunity to reach out for y'all. So thank y'all for the support. Y'all have a great evening.